know what is what.
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is Cult of the Living Dead.
What year did Akira come out?
89, I think. Check my
Damn,
notes.
so the year after this, Akira came out, and it just changed the game for all anime.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, think about it, dude. Imagine you're gonna go see a Japanese animation, and then you saw this fucking movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a really good movie. It's a really good movie. It is. I mean, I guess you could start getting into it, but because I've seen it once before, and I remember it being very sad, and I kept reiterating to you guys, this is a fucking sad ass movie.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I forgot how sad it is. 88 came out the same year.
Damn. What month? What month did this come out? Now we got to do some digger deeping, some deeping.
What was that? What was that, bro?
A hard R right there, bro.
Oh, dude.
He was. I told you he was pretending to be politically correct for his ex, dude.
It's dropping hard R's left and right. He said it twice.
So Akira came out July 16th, 1998, and Grave of the Fireflies came out July 26th, 1989.
Oh, Grave of the Fireflies is 89?
Yeah. I had it as 88.
It says 88 on IMDb.
Interesting.
Oh, I wonder if is it 89 North America maybe?
Oh, maybe.
Because I know that happens a lot. Japan animation,
wiki,
you'll get it later in the US.
Yeah, on the wiki it says 88.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Well, we'll say 88 and or 89. Okay. So weird that would be like not like set in stone. It's not like it was that long ago. So we start. You guys ready?
Run it.
All right, let's get started, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Cult of the Living Dead. Today we are covering the 1988 and or 1989 animated film Grave of the Fireflies. Date depends on whatever source you're looking at. This movie is a Studio Ghibli film. One of the more this underground one, considering how much critical acclaim it gets. But before we get into it, quick little reminder: we are a cult movie podcast. We cover cult classics, B movies, and horror. None of us are academically trained in movie critique. All these opinions are subjective. We all love movies here, so enjoy the ride, people. So I am your host, the Dale, followed by my two co-hosts, Mr. Saya.
Yo.
And Twan.
What up?
All right, so let's get started. So Grave of the Fireflies, Japanese animated film from the late 80s. It's directed by Isao Takahata. So it's not his directorial debut, but it is his Ghibli studio debut. So this is the first movie he did with Studio Ghibli.
Close enough.
So for those of you who aren't familiar with Studio Ghibli, they just made the Academy Award-winning movie, The Boy and the Heron, that just won this past year. Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro, Pompoko, all kinds of crazy stuff. I like to call them the Disney of Japan. I don't know if that's a fair assessment or not, but I feel like the quality of their movies and the animation style well earns them that kind of respect. But Takahata also directed Pompoko. He did the Tales of Princess Kaguya, which I'm pretty sure won the Academy Award. I told myself I was going to double check that, but I forgot. And Only Yesterday. It was written by Akiyuki Nasaka, who also wrote the novel. So this film is based on a short story. It's a short semi-autobiographical novel that Nasaka's. It's kind of based on his experiences during the fire bombings and the end of the war. This is a war movie. It takes place in the last months of the Pacific Campaign of World War II, where the United States was finishing its victory over the Japanese army. And it is also written by Isao Takahata. He's written all the movies named previously. My Neighbors the Yamadas. He's the other big director slash writer for Studio Ghibli. That's not Hayao Miyazaki. The music is by Michio Mamiya. She does. I looked up their IMDb page. She does a lot of like opera stuff, not a whole bunch of film stuff. But the music in this movie is very good. It's at times very haunting and also very beautiful. I think it's really chilling. Well, what's the song? Like the opening song, the theme song of the movie, "Home Sweet Home," is performed by the coloratoria soprano Emilita Gai Koroi. So we all watched the
Killed it.
I know, right? I don't
That was
speak
beautiful.
Italian. Thank you.
Baba the baby.
Oh, mamma mia!
Instantly not killed it. Just getting us immediately canceled.
I like my DiGiorno pizza with the pepperoni.
It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno.
You get the Neapolitan DiGiorno. Oh my god. So we all saw the dub version of this movie, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna name off the dubbed actors. All these people are voice actors, so they're in like a bunch of different stuff. There's no actual. That's how you could also tell the age of this movie, because you look at like Studio Ghibli films now, like they have like A-list celebrities. Like I think like Christian Bale and Liam Neeson and all these huge American stars have been in future Ghibli films. But during this time period, anime had not yet been anime as we know it today. So you don't get the same love.
Who's the Heron? He's the new Batman.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson.
Have you guys seen that movie? That's a good movie.
I was thinking, like, damn,
it's on my list.
When was Liam Neeson Batman?
Oh,
because you said Batman because he was like Christian Bale.
Well, Christian Bale, he's Hal in Howl's Moving Castle, and then I forget who he is in The Boy and the Heron, but he voices someone in that one too.
Oh, he's in The Boy and the Heron also.
Mm-hmm. He's a small character.
Yeah, is that out for regular streaming or do I have to?
I think you have to rent it.
I think you have to rent it. Yeah, it's up for rent.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. I saw it in theaters. I liked it. So the cast, we have Seito. Let me pull up the Japanese cast because I want to give them credit too. So I'll read off the characters, the Japanese voice actor, and then the American one. So we have Seita Yokokawa, who in Japanese is voiced by Tsutsumu Tatsumi, and in English it's by Adam Gibbs in the 2012 redub. We have Setsuko Yokokawa, who is by Ayano Shirayashi in Japanese, and Emily Neves in English. Their mother, Seito and Setsuko's mother, is Yoshiko Shinohara, and in English it's Shelley Celine Black. The aunt is Akemi Yamaguchi, and in English is Marcy Banner.
Fuck that
Her
bitch.
daughter is Kazumi Nozaki. The English actor is unknown. And the doctor is Hiroshi Kawaguchi. And in English, it is David Wold. I thought the voice acting was pretty good in this movie for it not being like big actors. But then again, all these people are like professional voice actors. And I feel like that comes with its own skill set. That's not necessarily the same as being like a on-screen live action actor. But I thought the voices were pretty good. I think they all did a convincing job of relaying the emotions of the characters.
Yeah.
And matched really well with the animation, because the animation in this movie is quite good at relaying emotion and depth.
You said that the dubbed actors had already been like dub actors before in other stuff, right?
Yeah, they're like voice actors in like other anime and like cartoons and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that I think they did a really good job. There was just so much emotion in everything that happened, and you could definitely feel it all the way through. From the beginning, like right from the fucking beginning.
Yeah, but before we work our way through it, because we'll try to keep it lighthearted. Because it is admittedly a very sad. I'd even go so far to say like depressing kind of movie. It's a look into like a part of the world that isn't often portrayed in anime. You know, like you don't see this in animated films. Think of like a Schindler's List or The Pianist, like those types of heart wrenching
Yeah.
Yeah.
films. You don't really see that level of human emotion and depravity showed in animation, whether it be American or Japanese.
That's such a good like comparison. I didn't even think about it because I don't know. I feel like this. I couldn't even place like anything close to this movie. And then, yeah, you're right. That's a really good comparison. I think it's the first ever like sad anime that I've ever witnessed in my whole life like this. It was wild.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was thinking. Oh, go ahead, Doc.
It's just like I feel like Disney movies they take these sort of like real life, depressing subjects, and then they kind of give it to us in in a way that's easier to digest, like the story about a fucking dinosaur or a story about, fish or something else, but it has this like undertone of like these real life issues, whereas this movie is just right in your face about everything. It fucking takes us down some like serious topics, and it doesn't shy away from, the reality of like war.
Yeah, definitely. And I think not just the reality of war, but kind of as we'll see um like society's reaction and kind of how desperate times can change people to even turn their back on a couple kids that desperately need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before we start working our way through the movies and bringing down the vibe, let's go through our kind of history with this movie or what we expected going into it. I know I'm the only one who has seen this movie before, so I guess I'll start us off. I saw this movie about 10 years ago. I was in a Japanese film class when I was in community college, and this film wasn't assigned, but it was suggested by a teacher who's become a good friend of mine, David Song. Shout out. And he's like, "Yeah, it's good, man. You should check it out. It's a sad movie though, but it's a really good movie." And I'm like, "All right, cool. I've heard of it. I want to watch it. I really like Ghibli movies." And I saw it. Wasn't prepared at all for what I was gonna see because when you think of Ghibli movie, you think like whimsical, heart wrench. They can be heart wrenching, and they can be sad and deal with serious subject matter. A lot of them have to do with like moving on from loss and just the beauty of life and just even the afterlife and all this stuff. They can be really deep movies, but this movie was very much not that. There was not a really any happy moments in this film to be had. It was just kind of like a real look um, at kind of what war does to people and to societies. So I came into it. I forewarned you too. Like it's gonna be a sad movie. It might make you cry. It's definitely not going to be like anything you've seen before for an animated film for sure. But what about you guys? What about you, Twan? You said you just finished watching it before recording, so you have like the rawest take. What were you thinking going into it?
Well, I watched the trailer with my partner, and it seemed like it was a movie that she was definitely interested in. I mean, it just, if you know Studio Ghibli, you're gonna get exactly what you think you're gonna get. It's just a great movie with great storytelling. Being forewarned about kind of the tone of this movie and how sad it can get. I mean, thank you for the warning, because it was it pulled on some heartstrings for sure. But I mean, the only kind of, I don't know, background I have with this movie is the fact that I know that it's a Studio Ghibli movie and I know that production company. But other than that, I had never heard of this movie before doing this. So, but yeah, it was a movie. It was good.
What about you, Sam?
I thought that, I mean, you did warn us, but I thought because it was a Studio Ghibli movie, it was going to have some type of like, I don't know, like comedy or like some like small lightheartedness. Um, I think it comes in like waves because there's children like going through this whole thing, and so they're trying, but then it just gets worse like over time, and like it just gets it's really sad. And so it was definitely a heavy movie to watch. But I mean, you did prep us for it, so there was that. I think if I wouldn't have had any idea what this was going into it, and just assuming it was a Studio Ghibli movie, I thought it would have been completely different. But yeah, yeah. Did was this maybe this is a conversation for later, but like, did this have a big like impact? Is this like this is a cult classic? Like it didn't have a big well received opening and like welcoming.
So yeah, it's definitely a cult classic. Well, as we covered Akira, right? Akira kind of broke the mold for animation and being the first like really successful animated film from Japan to hit the Western audiences. So it's pretty normal for animated films to not be that financially successful in the West. Like it just wasn't a thing that really happened. So yeah, it was successful and impactful and critical in Japan and stuff. But it wasn't the hit that it was in the States. And the thing that's interesting about this movie is that this movie was shown as a double feature. So it was shown with My Neighbor Totoro,
Oh shit!
which is I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, but
I
it's
haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
that out of all the Ghibli movies, I feel like My Neighbor Totoro. Well, I'm pretty sure you've seen the image of that big like guy. Yeah.
Mhm.
I like that movie. I think it's a little overrated. But
Damn,
that
fuck
movie,
you, bro. Cat Bus rocks.
that movie's very whimsical. It's very Alice in Wonderlandy to me.
Okay.
But not a lot really happens in that movie. It's just kids being kids, and it's good, but I think compared to their later works, it's not the best. But it is very tonally different from this movie.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the
Jesus
fucking
Christ.
super whimsical kids movie and then going. I wonder what was shown first.
I hope
I
this
feel
one
like
was
that makes
shown
a
first.
huge difference.
I think it was this one. So
Okay.
this
I
this
really
movie,
hope this one.
this movie saved My Neighbor Totoro. So
Damn.
this movie got greenlit and it was being made first. And Hayao Miyazaki went to the Ghibli execs heads, right? This is before he's Hayao Miyazaki, where he calls the shots now, right? He's the guy. And they're like, nah, and we don't like this concept. We're not going to do this movie. So in order to get it made, he's like, well, what if we do it as a double feature with Grave of the Fireflies?
Mhm.
So they're like, okay, if we do it as a double feature, we'll make it work. We could do it that way. So that is what saved Totoro and why that movie was made. And now it's like the iconic symbol of Ghibli. I feel like you see Totoro's like you see him on a lot of their merchandise.
Yeah.
So,
And the soot sprites and like a lot of visuals from Totoro.
are so it became huge. But yeah, it was a double feature with this movie, which is bananas because you see Totoro and you're like, yeah, I would take my my kids or my niece or whatever to watch that movie. But then it's like coincided with Grave of the Fireflies, which I feel is a very adult film.
Yeah.
Like or adult to like teenager film. Like that's not really something you want to show little kids. Because it's pretty brutal, right? Like there's not a lot of graphic violence or anything, but the movie itself is so heavy. I don't know.
I think it's funny too because it also forces like American audiences to deal with the fact that like we decimated like a whole like population, and this is the effect that it had on children. And then after that, like here's a kid movie, but also remember what you fucking did to us, you fucking shits.
Look at this cat bus.
Yeah.
Look at this cat bus.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I when I read that, I was like, "That's crazy! What a wild double feature!" It's like if you went to see Schindler's List and then right after you watch Toy Story. Like, what the
Damn.
fuck? Like, what is this? Like, this wave of emotions.
I know.
Yeah, so it didn't make
That's
that much
crazy.
of it. It made like close to $600,000
Damn.
domestic. So it wasn't a huge like financial success. But should we start working our way through the movie?
Yep.
All right. So the movie starts off with Seta narrating. He starts off with September 21st, 1945, the day that I died. So you know right off the bat that Seta has died. And the movie starts off with just a screen of him in kind of like this goldish, orangish yellow hue. It's him dressed in like his uniform. It's like kind of like a little soldier uniform. And then that image fades out, and you're in a subway station, and there's a bunch of young boys who looked all messed up. Their clothes are ratty, their pants are ratty, they're super skinny. They're all leaned up against these pillars in the subway, and the janitors are coming through and kind of checking the pulse of all these kids. And they get to Satan, they're like, "Yeah, this one's a goner." And they even say, like, you could see it in their eyes. They have nothing left to live for. And I thought it was kind of fucked up because the janitors are all like, they say that they're commenting on how these the sick and dying young boys are like a disgrace. And I was like, man, that's kind of fucked up. Like these are children, you know,
Yeah.
where they're supposed to be protected by society. That's kind of society's role, is to protect the kids. And Seta dies. The janitor finds this red tin in his amongst his possessions, and he shakes it, and it rattles a little bit. He's like, "Oh, this is trash," and he just throws it into the grass outside of the subway. The tin pops open, and like white stuff comes out, which I didn't realize until after, but that's just like, it looks like it's like with like the calcified ashes of his sister.
Mhm.
So that pops out. The spirit of his sister is released, and then Seta's spirit shows up. They like hug, and then a bunch of fireflies emerge from the grass. It's actually a pretty beautiful scene. They're all in like this gold hue, almost like angelic type of lighting, I would say. They go together, they get on the bus, and they start driving down the bus, and it's the same hue color, the very angelic heavenly type of glow that you see. And then it cuts to them going into what was, I guess, like, it's like a flashback. It's like, it looks like it's Seta looking at how that started and how they got there, and us as the audience are going along with them to see the journey of these two kids and how they ultimately met their demise. So I guess from the book, I read that this is different. That in the original story, it starts off with the air raid, but
Mhm.
the director thought that he wanted to like save the audience from the heartbreak. So he lets you know from the beginning of the movie that these two children die, that they don't make it.
Damn.
This isn't a happy story. So it's in order to like brace you, to give you that acceptance, you can digest it, because what you're about to see is pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's to like save us, which is interesting because although
Thank
it's my
you.
second time viewing this movie, I didn't remember it starting with the kids being dead like right from the beginning.
Yeah. I think I don't know what I would have been like if I would have gone through the whole movie and then found out that they died at the very end. Like, I started tearing up when he was like, "This is the night I died." I was like, "Fuck, it's gonna be one of these movies." So yeah, it would have been. I don't think I would have been able to record this today.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was talking to my partner about it after we saw the movie, went on a walk and kind of talked about it, and I was saying, like, I think she even said too. She's like, "I'm glad that we knew right off the bat that they didn't die," because I was like, "Yeah, imagine if it just started off with the air raid and then it concluded with what the beginning was. That would be so fucking depressing.
Yeah.
That would have been so sad. I would have been like,
Yeah.
holy shit, why the fuck did I just watch this? So I think that that was nice, and I think it provides a little lightheartedness because we know right off the back that their spirits are at rest, that they're reunited, and they seem happy and content. Which ultimately is what you'd want considering what it is that they went through. But
Yeah.
I want to stay here for a second and talk about the imagery of the boys um up against the pillars, and I think the animation did a good job of showing like how malnourished and how bad they looked, and just like how society had kind of just discarded them already during a time period where obviously these kids must have been affected by what happened in the war, and there was no one out there not only willing to help but were just like disgusted by them. I thought that was pretty interesting, and kind of messed up. I don't know, what did you
Yeah.
guys think?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's kind of how a lot of people are these days when it comes to, you know, people that are without homes. Um, it's just like they're seen as lesser humans, kind of like trash, just off to the side. It starts off with showing Seta leaned up against that pillar, and you just hear people's murmurs like as they're walking by, just putting this poor kid down, like, and like you said, Dale, they do a great job in showing us just how bad of a condition they are, even though it's an animated movie and even though it was made in the 80s. Like, they really let you know, like, these poor kids are suffering. It kind of reminded me of the movie Enter the Void. Um, I don't know if you guys seen that movie where it
Which
starts
one?
off with the guy dying, and
Oh
then the
yeah.
whole movie is kind of seen through I guess like his spirit's eyes, just kind of recounting everything that happened leading up to that moment.
Crazy because that movie also takes place in Japan.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if there's
Bit of a
any
theme there. Yeah.
connection. Yeah, but no, it was super powerful opening. I'm glad they did it the way that they did, because again, as you both said, it just would have been so hard to digest at the end. Like, I think it would have been a little bit too much for people. Um, just because as it is, we kind of it's a little difficult to kind of take in kids' deaths as it
Mhm.
is in movies. So when this whole story is kind of surrounding the death of these children, um, it's it's easier to take in being told from the get go that, all right, yeah, these two kids died. It's a fucking heavy subject matter, man, heavy, but it was done so well. And I feel like the train scene was them. I guess it's them going to heaven, right? Because like they're they say that your life flashes before your eyes before you die.
Mhm.
So like maybe it's just the recount of everything.
Yeah, I think if not going to heaven, it's at least showing their spirits at peace and
Yeah.
kind of that they're not like suffering anymore. Yeah, some heavy stuff, definitely. It does. Speaking on what you said, I know we made the Schindler's List comparison. It kind of reminds me of how in that movie there's the girl in the red dress, the little girl,
Mhm.
and like everything's in black and white, but she's in red, and it immediately catches your eye. And then you don't find out until later on in the film where you see her red dress and like the pile of like clothes from the other people who were taken to Auschwitz that was like burned and stuff, and you know that like that didn't end in a happy ending.
Yeah.
I feel like the red fruit can kind of serves the same purpose
Hmm.
because we know it's significant and it comes up time and time again as kind of a way for Setsuko to kind of get a moment of happiness in this very like challenging and a time in their life.
Yeah.
So it's I guess since we keep mentioning that they're kids. So Seita is 14 years old and Setsuko is 4. So these yeah, he's supposed to be a ninth grader, and Setsuko is very much still a child. Is like a toddler, little kid. I don't know.
Yeah.
What you classify a 4-year-old is, like a preschooler, I guess. So after the scene, we after the train scene, we get brought to like pre the before the war ended Japan. So it takes place in Kobe, Japan, which is like 20 minutes outside of Osaka by train. And it's they're getting firebombed. So we see that Seita is bearing, it looks like, emergency supplies for like a rainy day. And her mom's kind of taking her time, like, oh yeah, make sure you get to shelter, make sure you take your kids. I thought this was interesting because to me it kind of spoke to how common of occurrence this was, that these like bombing runs were happening, that the mom seems so like nonchalant about it, like, it's whatever, it's just like another day in the life, which is interesting. Like if that becomes your normal, it's humans have this really easy way of living with these kind of horrific, terrifying situations, because if it's happening to you every single day, your brain kind of normalizes it and it doesn't affect you the same way it does initially, which I thought was interesting, because she's really like whatever's about it. But Seita's super like, Johnny on the spot, like, no, mom, we got to do this. We got to get to it. Like, he's like, we got to follow like the rules. He's like a mini soldier almost.
Yeah.
So they go, Seita gets his sister. I thought it was cool, that little detail, and he like wraps her around him with those straps. I thought that was pretty sweet. And they're running through and the fireballs start dropping, which is interesting because Takahata, the director, he specifically modeled the firebombs after what he experienced personally during the war. Because he says when you watch a lot of war movies and they show incendiary bombs, they always show them as like bombs. He's like, that's not what they were like. It is literally just look like big ass sticks that were on fire, that were following all these wooden structures. And I know, like, for history, when you learn about World War II, it always ends with like the U.S. dropped the atom bomb on Japan, and that kind of like caused this massive destruction that like ended the war. But what a lot of people don't know is a lot of these fire bombings killed a lot more people and did a lot more damage than the atom bombs did, because Japan is completely made out of wood. Well, it was during this time period. All the houses are made out of wood. I kind of feel like in California, our houses are made out of wood because we have earthquakes. They have earthquakes, so they do wood. It's easier to withstand than like concrete. So they're going. The house is on fire. Everything's aflame. I will give this to Seita. He is very cognizant, and good within his ability of being a 14-year-old, of getting his sister to safety. And like he does everything he can to do it. Like he has a moment where he kind of pauses, where you see that everything's like on fire around him, the crowd's running, and then he makes a decision, like, we're not going to go to the bomb shelter. Instead, we're going to go down by the river, and we're gonna hang out by a drainage ditch, because it seems that to be pretty fortified. So they go, they hang out. He's calming his sister down. I think he does a really good job of not showing any emotion, and never letting his sister believe that the situation is too much for him to handle.
Yeah.
Like he always seems to be like in control, which I thought was pretty interesting for a kid of that age. And I think it probably is like a testament to the culture of probably Japan, especially wartime culture, and the fact that he's the son of a captain. So it seems like he feels this responsibility to be like a soldier's son, that he himself is a future soldier. So he tries to carry himself that way. At least that's what I got from watching it. But I thought this next scene, after he's talking to his sister, and he walks up to the top of the hill. The drainage ditch is like on a slope. And while they're running there, you see in the background, the whole city's on fire. Like it's just nothing but flames. And when he gets from the drainage ditch and he goes to the top, the entire city is just gone. There's like nothing there. Like it is completely empty. You see like a couple like support beams standing up, but for the most part, it is like completely flat ground. And it is all ash. What did you guys think of the animation of like the destruction of Kobe, or at least a section of Kobe, and kind of their like escape from the fire?
It was wild. I think I don't know. It's hard to like watch um war kind of, I don't know, for me, like it's hard for me to like watch, that. And so additionally like throwing in like children into this mix and like how they've kind of had to adapt to wartime as like a trauma response. And so
It's a good term.
like Setsuko, she's what you said, she was like 4, Sato was like 14, so he's really like trying to do his best to like take care of his sister, but at the same time he's also like a child in the middle of wartime. But I think like you said, he does do everything in his power to make sure that his little sister is like taken well care of. But I mean, watching all this destruction around them was just really intense. The town gets destroyed, people are like burning around him, and he's like, yo, we gotta go to this like drainage ditch. It was just, there was a lot just within this first, this is still what I think we're still talking about, the first like 10-15 minutes of the film, right?
Yeah.
Like it just immediately throws us off into this whole situation where his whole hometown just gets dominated. I also didn't realize that that was what fire bombs look like. So I was, I was, yeah, I didn't know what was happening at first, and then I realized, and then I looked it up after, and it was that was there was a lot. It was also interesting that you said that the writer wrote based off of his own experience too. So I think that adds like a whole nother level of like destruction, right? Because I think as Americans, we don't talk about the destruction that we cause. We talk about like the general destruction of like, oh, we dropped an atom bomb and then we won the war, but we don't talk about like the real ground level like destruction that we've done, and the effect that it has on families and on children. And so watching it, um, yeah, it was heavy.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I think one of the things that this scene does well, as well, is the sound design. Like, the foreboding feeling that you get when you hear the air raid sirens, and then you hear the planes flying above, and it becomes a reoccurring theme, the sirens. And each and every time those sirens come on, like, you just get this feeling of dread. And it's used well. And this poor guy, man, Seda was just thrown into a situation, and his dad was off to war and causing him to be, essentially the man of the house. And yeah, like you said, Dale, he does such a good job throughout the movie, kind of making sure that Setsuko like didn't know the realities of what was going on. He did a really good job of hiding a lot of things from her to make sure that she was okay. And there was one instance in this scene that was kind of like, I don't know, just another real aspect of the movie, when they're showing, Kobe kind of being burned down, and one of the soldiers, you see him kind of pacing in front of the fire, and then he just yells, "Long live the emperor!" And we all know what he does, but it doesn't show it. But you know, we know, and it was just like another one of those holy fuck. These people are at their lowest, and they're really going through it, and this poor kid and his sister are just doing everything that they can to survive. And then we get hit with the rain scene, and he just says, "Oh, black rain from," or I don't know, he said something, yeah, from all the ash. It's just like, damn, it's The first 15 minutes of this movie were so heavy. They were
Yeah.
so heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what you said about the sound design because I wrote the same thing. Like you hear the planes, you hear like a brief moment of silence, and then just the whistles of the bombs dropping,
Yeah.
and then almost like the anticlimactic um dropping of the bombs. It just sounds like a stick or a log, like doo-doo, like when it hits the ground. And even Seda like looks at it and he looks around. And he's like, "It's cool." And then immediately, the house in front of him is just completely engulfed in flames. Like it just happened that fast. Like it seemed like, oh, okay, like nothing's really going on. I think we're gonna be okay. To everything's on fire like almost immediately. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know what firebombs were like. So initially when I had saw that scene, it's like, oh damn, they're all duds. And then like you said, right away, boom, house on fire, everything on fire. Like that's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, and even his reaction to the black rain, he's so nonchalant about it, which just shows like how common of an occurrence it was. Just like, oh, it's black rain, it's because of the ash. Like, okay, well, let's get to some shelter. Speaking of which, so the firebombs ends. They meet up. It looks like with like a neighbor or like a family friend, and she tells him like, "Hey, the whole time they're walking there, Sada's reassuring his sister like, "Oh, the mom got to the shelter. Like, don't worry, she's gonna be fine. We'll find her. She's gonna be good. She definitely got to the shelter. Don't worry about it. We just have to meet up with her." They go to the hospital. A family friend's like, "Hey, dude, you need to go see your mom." So he goes to his mom, and she's just covered in bandages, just head to toe. Her entire body is just burnt. And the doctor's like, "Oh, thank goodness she like finally fell asleep." So she must have just been like an excruciating pain that entire time.
Yeah.
And Seda sees this. He kind of like he sees it, he processes it, he gives himself a moment, he sucks it up. I want to say he sucks it up because that has like a negative connotation to it, but he kind of like buries it inside.
Yeah.
Puts on this brave face, tells his sister, "Oh, mom's okay. We're gonna see her. They're gonna move her to like a better hospital. She got hurt, but she's all right." And the family friends like, "Hey, if you guys need anything around the second story, you can come stay with us." And Setsuko starts crying, and the way Seda processes it is to try and cheer her up by showing her how good he is on the it's not the monkey bars. I forget what that bar is called.
The pull-up bar.
Yeah, like the pull-up bar, and he starts doing like these crazy like gymnastic spins. Well, he's just doing that over and over. Like that's how he's processing the information. He just works it out.
Yeah.
Well, his little sister's just sitting there crying, and he's just spinning in a circle on this pull-up bar, kind of like you see gymnasts do. And then the next scene, it switches to him seeing the mom, and she's covered in flies and like maggots. And he goes with another group of people. Looks like they take a train and like a bus to like burn all the bodies. And he gets the boxes of their ashes, and he's talking. I think it's with the same family friend or somebody saying like, "Oh, we have a distant relative we're gonna go stay with," and everyone's like, "Oh, you're so lucky, like that you have this relative you can stay with," which got me thinking like, so what happens to the people that don't have anybody to stay with? Like, what? That's it. Like, what do you do? Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
So that scene was pretty sad, and they get to the aunt's house, and he hides the mom's ashes in a bush. He tells Setsuko like, "Oh, mom's in the hospital. Like, we'll go see her soon." But he doesn't want to tell her that she died, which is was pretty crazy because he doesn't this entire time he doesn't shed a single tear.
Yeah.
He like kind of takes it in stride. Like he really tries to be like the man of the house, strong for himself, strong for his sister. And I think it's interesting because it takes a long time. I think he doesn't cry until like the 45-minute mark of the movie. No, but they stay with the aunt, and at first the aunt is pretty welcoming. She's pretty she lets the kids into her house, gives them food, kind of reassures them, give them a place to live, kind of brings them into the family. One thing she says is, which caught my ear, which I thought was kind of fucked up, is he's like, "Oh, my mom died." And the aunt's like, "Well, why didn't she say anything?" He's like, "Well, I didn't want her to know." And she's like, "Oh, well, that's too bad. You should probably tell your dad."
Hmm.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
She
Mhm.
doesn't hug him. She doesn't console him. Nothing. She's just like, "Oh, well, that sucks. I guess your mom's dead. Better let your pops know." Like that. That's it. I thought that was pretty messed up. But I guess it's and the relationship between the aunt and Seda and Setsuko kind of devolves over time. But he does try. Like, he goes back to where their house was. He unburies the supplies that he dug. He takes it to the aunts. And like, we have this like one moment of like, I don't know, like a happy moment where he tries the pickled plum. And he's like, "Oh, that's sweet. Oh, it's sour." And like, it's like a little glimpse into him like being a kid.
Yeah.
It's just like a little bit of normality, which I thought was interesting. And he brings it to the aunt. She's very happy for the supplies. Like, he doesn't like it's him being like, "Yeah, we're not going to live here for free. Like, I get we have to like help in some way. This is all we have left, and because you're taking us in, we are going to give you the last of what we have." So he does that. We find out that his mom has like 7,000 yen in the bank, which I don't know how much that is in 1945, but I'm guessing that's a good amount because he's pretty like stoked about it. But when I was 14 years old, I thought $7,000 is a lot of money. Now that I'm not 14 years old, I know $7,000. It's a lot of money to some people. Like, if I needed to like automatically spend 7 grand, like, I wouldn't be happy about it. But like, it's in the grand scheme of money, $7,000 isn't that much money. Like, $7,000 ain't gonna keep you going for that long.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What'd you guys think about the like initial like introduction to the aunt and how she kind of brings the kids into them? Because I'm pretty sure we all have the same feelings about her later on. But what'd you guys think initially?
I thought that initially the aunt seemed really welcoming and like a little bit understanding, but once she finds out that their mom is dead, there's just like an immediate switch. And then even when Seda brings back all the supplies, to me it seemed like the aunt was like, "Oh, you guys are so lucky because you guys are like a military family," and like she was just like kind of like taking and like eyeing all of their stuff. I mean, I could understand. I guess trying to think about it and analyze it, like I understand, like everyone was trying to look out for their own family. Like, this is wartime. There's everything's like rationed and all that shit. But this is also like family. Like they were family. So I would have assumed that they would have been like a little bit more. I don't know. The aunt would have done a little bit more, but yeah, fuck the aunt.
Yeah, man. No, I agree with the both of you. We our first introduction to this character is, obviously she took them in. She opened her home to these poor kids, which good, you should have. You know, but yeah, that moment where she finds out that the mom died, um it's like she had a small moment of grief and then right away kind of just snapped out of it and was like, "Oh, well, you should probably write your father and you should like," I don't know if this is when she says like you need to get a job or but she's like quick with her grief. Like, she didn't even grieve. I know that was what her sister-in-law. They weren't related by
Oh, is
blood,
that
but
is that what it? Do they say that's the sister-in-law?
I think that was the dad's sister, right? The dad's relative. Because at some point in the movie, she's like, "Well, go find your mom's side or your mom's family," and they're like, "We don't really know that side of the family."
That's
Oh
right.
yeah, yeah, you're right.
I don't know if they said it was his sister or if it's like a relative of the dad. I actually, because I
Yeah,
know she says it's a distant relative, but if it is his sister, that's an extra layer of fucked up because
right.
those are your nieces and nephews, and I don't think a niece and nephew would be a distant relative. Maybe it's like a cousin of the dad or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Because I was trying
Unless-
to think about this, like if I got sent to like a distant relative, like who would that relative be? Right? I got a pretty big family, but I see most of my family a lot. So
Yeah.
like, who would it be? Like one of my family members, like in another state, who I see like once every 5 to 10 years or something.
That's what I was thinking. When I think of distant, I think of people that are family, but you don't like see too often, or maybe they're like third, third uncle or second cousin or something like that. Like just real distant people. Still fucked up though. Fuck the aunt.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean,
If I see her getting jumped in the street, I'm gonna help the people jumping her.
I feel like the aunt's purpose does show, as like Twan said, like you touched on it too, say that like she shows how bad things have gotten, because she's very much about like, well, my husband and my daughter come first.
Yeah.
I'm welcoming into my home but they very quickly, when they have nothing left to give, she starts to treat them like a burden. Because as we'll see is, and what Seta does in order to try and keep his sister's spirits up is he gives the aunt all their rations except for one thing. He gives his sister these they're called, I think, fruit jollops. It's like that red tin can, and they're like they're like sugar candies. They're like fruit flavored hard candies. And then a cool little tin can, and each flavor is different. He gives that to his sister. If she's feeling sad, he pops one in. He's like, close your eyes, and he pops one in her mouth, and she gets really happy because she's a 4-year-old kid, gets off candy.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like how he tries to keep her happy. And he does things to try and make her happy. Like they go to the beach, they have a nice little beach day. Again, just a little tidbit that happens in this scene that I thought was interesting, that kind of talks about the world at large, as we see this
with the salt.
Yeah, they're rationing. They're making a sea salt. They're getting the salt water. They're trying to filter it to make sea salt, which I thought was interesting. You see a dead body that's just on the beach, just there, just covered. And even then, like, Seita tries to shield Tetsuko from it. The way they just passively comment on them making sea salt because it's really hard to get salt. So this is these little things that are added to these scenes, but this is like one of those moments in the film where they actually have you get to see them be kids. You get to see them have fun. And then we get a little flashback of Seita like swimming to that buoy. He's there with his mom, like they're kind of reminiscing about like good times and kind of how they don't have those anymore. And how he's trying to fill that role for his sister, like taking her on a beach day, making sure she's happy, getting her candy, trying his best to take care of her. And this is where we see the what's it called for the first time, right? The bomb shelter. They like pass by it.
Did they pass by it? I thought it was later, when there's like after they have to sell the kimonos and stuff. The aunt's like really angry, and then there's another raid, and she's like, all you do is go to the shelter whenever there's a raid.
But I
I
think
didn't
that's
realize
why,
they
because
passed by it.
they found the shelter and he's like, oh, look, it's a shelter. But it's like kind of abandoned. And then they go to do their beach day. The aunt does comment. She constantly is commenting like, oh, it's so hard to get food. And then the very next scene, when they get back from the beach, she's like, hey, let me sell your mom's kimonos. You probably get a lot of rice for this. And she does get a lot of rice for it. I thought it was cool / interesting that she splits the rice with them. She like fills that mason jar up. She's like, okay, this is your rice. Like, this is yours. And then we're going to keep this. Like, this is your payment for staying with us. I was like, okay, I guess that's kind of fair. She does have to feed all the family. But then I thought it was kind of weird that, well, good in the sense that she gives them their portion, but it also speaks to the fact that in her mind, they're two separate entities.
Yeah.
They're not one complete unit trying to make it together. There's my family, and then there's you two. So this is your rice, and this is mine, which I thought was pretty it was interesting. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, I think that's like kind of reinforced throughout the whole like movie of like, once like these kids are basically orphans, and so now they're their own kind of entity, and they have to figure it out on their own, and they have to rely either on people helping them, or they got to do stuff on their own. Even though I think the aunt definitely could have like tried to make it work. But also, I mean, we've never experienced anything like that before, so I feel like it's hard to like judge, because I mean, we've never experienced like wartime like that, so it is. I just thinking about it, like it's a little bit more difficult to like assume how we would all react during that time. But like, god damn it, dude, like these are kids. They just
Yeah.
needed some help. Like, just help them out. Give them a little bit of space to like grieve and stuff like that. But the aunt was like, she split the rice and then made some rice for them. And then the next morning she was like, no more rice for you. Like, your rice is done. And it was like, bro, what? Like they helped you get rice. Like, what's your problem? Like, you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
the
there's a
aunt.
go ahead, Todd.
No, I was just agreeing.
Because there's a moment where she's making the lunches for her daughter and her husband,
Hmm.
and Setsuko's like, oh, like she's so excited, like, oh, we're gonna have rice balls for dinner.
Yeah.
And the aunt's like, stop that right now. You're not getting no rice balls. You think you deserve rice balls? Like my daughter and my husband are out here helping the nation. Like, what are you guys doing? Being fucking bums. That's what you're doing. You're gonna eat rice gruel and you're gonna like it. You're gonna get no rice balls. Like,
Hmm.
you're a bunch of pests. Like, you don't do anything for this household. Like, god damn, dude. Like,
Yeah.
Christ. Like, I I think they say from when they leave the aunts until when Setsuko ultimately passes away, it's only been 2 months.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I don't know how long they were with the aunt for, but it seems like she jumped on him to like get a job real fucking quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that we kind of skimmed over. We got our first look at the Fireflies. It was a pretty
Oh,
whimsical scene.
that's right. I kind of forgot that.
That part, and then what other part? God damn it. I had it. I forgot. But yeah, we skipped over the when they're in the beach and what's her name?
Setsuko?
Tetsuo? Tetsuko takes off her clothes and
Oh, that's
we
right.
see the
Rash.
rash on her back because she's kind of been complaining about being hot and itchy kind of throughout since that first night. And then we finally see like, yeah, she's got something going on.
And it's like a really bad rash too. It just keeps getting worse.
That
Yeah.
was something I'd forgot about. Like, I was telling my partner, I was like, I don't remember the rash from when I saw it the first time, and then
Can't
seeing it,
forget the rash.
and then I noticed that in scenes when they don't show the rash, she's constantly like rubbing her back.
Yeah.
Like, she's constantly scratching it, which is what you're not supposed to do when you have a rash. But she's 4,
Yeah.
and I think that also speaks to, well, how bad the aunt is, because she's the adult, right? So she has a rash, take her to the doctor.
Hmm.
And then how, as much as Sada's trying and at times being semi-successful given his age, but he's still a kid and he doesn't have the wherewithal to take his sister to the doctor at the beginning to get it taken care of right off the bat. And by the time he does take her, it's too late. But like, he doesn't do it. He's just like, oh, you got a really bad rash. Like, just don't mess with it.
Yeah.
But it does. We'll see. Yeah, throughout the scene, it gets progressively worse. And he something that should have been addressed immediately. Get some ointment, figure out what's going on. As opposed to when they do finally do try to get it checked out, and it's like by then, like the rash is the least of their concerns.
Yeah. That was such a fucked up detail too, because it's like they got all this other shit to worry about. They got, us dropping bombs on them, trying to fight for food, this fucking bitch aunt. And then she also has like a rash that just continuously getting worse over time. I was like, man, these kids are going through it. That was, yeah.
Also, when we were talking about the shelter, I think that's where they see the fireflies, isn't it? Because they're right by the river.
No, I think they just go outside from the
Oh
aunt's
yeah, they
house.
just go for a walk. They just
Yeah.
go for
Yeah,
night walks.
because Setsuko's like hot and she can't sleep. And I think was it when she was crying and the aunt kind of comes in and is like,
Yeah, you shut that baby up.
yeah, yeah,
That's fucked up too, because like they both do a good job of like processing, not processing, just adapting to their situation, right? But you can obviously Satsuko already has some form of PTSD if she's crying in her sleep, right? Like what she's seen, what she's experiencing has affected her in some way that she's crying out in her sleep and she's not doing it when she's awake. And then the aunt, instead of being like understanding because their mom died and their fucking house and the section of Kobe that they lived in is completely gone, is just like, hey, we got to go to work, dude. You got to shut that kid up. Like, dude, what? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I get it. Like, yeah, you got to work, and going to work when you're sleep deprived does suck. But like, it's a 4-year-old kid. Her mom just
yeah.
died. Like, they got a lot of shit going on. Like, you can't just expect them. But maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe in Japan there is this expectation that
I was gonna ask that too. I think it's like Japan during the war was like really like they were about the war,
they're
right? Because they, I mean,
yeah.
they were defending their country at that time. Because
Oh,
we were invading, and so
well, they started
um,
it, but
yeah, yeah. I'm not saying that they didn't start it, but I mean that they like as like a people, they were really like adamant about supporting the country and like doing all this stuff.
yeah, they had a
So
very strong like nationalist fever that was like built into the culture itself. Yeah.
damn, that's just fucked up though, because then you
Because you hear it in the aunt,
feel like
she's all bought in too. She's like,
Yeah.
we're doing it for the greatness of our nation. We're doing this to help the nation. Like every time she needs to make a point, it's always perioded at the end with the fact that we're doing this for Japan. What are you doing for Japan?
yeah. I guess that's the what's it called? The greater good, utilitarian like point of view of like for the greater good, we can let these other people suffer, but like as long as like all of us as like a whole are pushing towards like, you know, the goodness, then you know we can just let these kids die and like fuck off. But yeah, fuck that, fuck the aunt. I'm gonna keep saying it throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. I've fucked that bitch all in caps in my notes.
The Fireflies, though.
The
Can't believe
Fireflies, though.
They'd
I
be
can't believe
fine.
I skipped that though because like this is a very prominent imagery that is used throughout the film. Like the Fireflies are a recurring theme.
Yeah.
And I guess I wanted to mention it earlier when we were talking about the firebombs. So when you're looking at the poster, if you look closely at the poster, it is fireflies lit up in the air, but some of them aren't fireflies. They're actually the firebombs falling from the sky.
Damn, that's fucked up. I didn't
Yeah.
even I gotta look at the flyer now. God damn it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Lot of imagery. I guess in some of the other posters too, if you zoom in real close, when they're looking up, some of the fireflies are the B-52 bombers.
Damn.
But the fireflies, they come up a lot. I think we could we'll touch on it a little more when they're more prominent about what the fireflies mean and what the director is trying to say with them. But they are a recurring theme within the movie. But the aunt, after this interaction with the kids, basically tells them like, all right, you don't like the way I'm treating you, you don't think I'm being fair, then you make your own food, you take care of yourself, I don't need this shit. That's kind of the opinion she takes. And Sada's like, he calls her out on it. He's like, fine, fuck it, I got $7,000 in the bank, I'm gonna go pull out some money. He buys himself a cooking stove, some charcoal, he gets some food for him and his sister, and he starts making their own dinners. And the aunt's reaction is like, oh, he bought his own stove to spite me.
Yeah.
Like, well, you told him to fuck off. So he's like, fine, I'm gonna do my own thing then. If that's the way you're gonna be, because I think he was trying his best to be respectful, but he could tell that the aunt was making it very apparent that she didn't want him there, and it was just getting worse by the moment. I do find it kind of interesting because Seda is a hustler and he does throughout the film, he tries all kinds of things to try to provide for him and his sister. I'm a little surprised that he didn't try to get a job.
I think he mentioned because she was like, "Why don't you go back to work?" And he's like, "Well, the factory I
burned
worked
down.
at like burned down, and the because he was also in what is it like the military or like the he
Yeah,
was
he's
in
like a.
something. He
I
was
mean,
like a
I
scout.
don't know what it's called in Japan, but to me, it's like, is it kind of like the equivalency of like the Hitler Youth? Like he was like a
Yeah,
a little kid that was being indoctrinated to be a soldier.
yeah,
Like as
yeah.
soon as he became of age.
And like that whole group of people are just like gone because the whole town of Kobe is gone. So I think, but you're right. I mean, he maybe could have made some type of effort, but also he had to like protect his sister at the same time, you know? So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
what?
also the husband was on the same page as the aunt because he
Mhm.
kind of made a little comment when she was telling him about, oh, that boy bought a stove just to spite me. He was like good for them. They're finally, picking up their slack. Or I don't know. He said something along those lines, like, damn. So it's kind of the both of them, or like it might be the whole family that they don't want them there.
I
I
mean
think the daughter doesn't
the
really say anything, right?
and she does
Yeah.
buy Setsuko a new pair of shoes when they first get there. Like they
Mhm.
are welcoming in the beginning,
Yeah.
um, but they very quickly, when times start getting tough, well, they say tough times make tough people, but not all the time. Sometimes it turns you to a selfish asshole, and that's what happened with them. They would not be in Rick's group if this was The Walking Dead.
They would not be.
There's some fucking like the cannibal group. I forget what they were called.
The people
Terminus.
from Terminus.
Yeah, Terminus, the fucking Terminus ass people. But I thought this one scene was cute before they kind of ultimately decide to leave. When she's out of the fruit drops, so he puts water in the can and gives it to her, and she kind of just like shakes it up and like drinks it, and she's like, "Ooh, it's sweet. It's all the different
Yeah.
flavors." He just like makes her sugar water,
Hmm.
but it still has the residual flavoring from the candy. And I did touch on it earlier, but I thought something that was pretty interesting when all the last three pieces get stuck together and he pours it out on a napkin and then there's like a little bit of crumbs.
Yeah.
She takes the crumbs and saves the rest of the candy, which I
Mhm.
thought was pretty interesting and like a level of maturity for a 4-year-old that these kids in
Yeah.
general just seem to have.
Yeah.
Was pretty interesting.
Yeah, she knew that those were the final bits, and it's like, I'm gonna choose to eat these crumbs now so I can just get the taste, but I'm gonna save the big ones for later because I don't know if I'm gonna get any more ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
As a 4-year-old to like process that is heavy. But I
It's
think
super
again it
heavy.
goes back to like wartime. You know, these kids have been dealing with this war for a while. How long did World War II last?
It started in 1939. Let me see. When did Hitler invade? Well, Japan had been attacking China since the 20s. March 12th, 1938, the Nazis took over Austria. China was invaded July 7th, 1937.
So they had been like in wartime for well was did China fight back? Was China also trying to invade Japan?
No, China got wrecked. So China was at this point they're still British colony
Mm,
for the most part. Well, I think they mostly have Hong Kong. So what's going on in China during this time period? There was the Communist Party and the Socialist Party were fighting each other. The Japanese and the Chinese historically have never liked each other. So Japan was finally strong enough to do something about it. So they invaded China because usually it's the other way around. Japan was kind of China ruled everything for a very long time, and then so Japan invades China, does some really fucked up shit to the Chinese. During this time period, the communists and the socialists are like, "Oh shit, we're being invaded," so they squash their beef. They join forces and they start fighting back. But for the most part, it's a losing battle. Japan also invades Korea during this time period. And they
Yeah.
fuck up Korea too. So that's why the United States, what kind of starts Pearl Harbor, is that the US basically tells Japan, like, hey dude, like cut it out. Stop invading people. We're not gonna give you oil anymore to fuel your war machine. So the Japanese are kind of just like, well, the US doesn't have our back, and they're kind of gonna embargo oil, which we need because Japan doesn't have oil. So
Mhm.
Japan attacks the United States, which pushes the United States to go into World War II. Which a lot of people don't realize, because when you hear about World War II, everyone talks about stopping the Nazis because the Nazis were legitimately like comic book bad guys brought to life.
Yeah.
But we fought that with the Europeans, where the United States by ourselves took out Japan. We didn't get help from nobody. The Pacific Front was only the United States. That's where majority of our soldiers went.
Do you
Yep.
think if I think we're going off on a tangent, but do you think
Okay, I
if we
can
didn't
edit it
have
out.
if we didn't have the atomic bomb, would we have been able to take over Japan?
Yeah, they were done.
Oh yeah, I remember that. They were ready. It was like the end of the war. I think weren't they there was going to be
So the United States made the argument that they dropped the A bomb because the actual invasion of the mainland would have cost hundreds of thousands of lives. So
yeah,
to save American lives, they dropped the A bomb. But since then, it's kind of shown that Japan was ready to surrender,
surrender.
but
Yeah.
they didn't want to surrender unconditionally. And the United States was like, you need to surrender unconditionally. Like that's it. So the US could have invaded and taken over Japan pretty easily. They wouldn't have cost as many lives as they said they would have. And at the same time, Japan fell after Germany, and the Russians wanted Manchuria, which Japan controlled because Manchuria has a lot of oil. So the Russians were like, cool, we'll help you guys out. We'll invade from the north while you guys invade from the south, and we'll just pincer move and we'll just take out Japan. But the United States was fearful of Russia because Russia was really the one that won the Western Front.
The Western Front. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually did a lot more to beating the Germans than they get credit for in our history books because Russia has been our enemy for a long time.
Mhm.
But they actually did. Oh, they fucked them up bad. So the U.S. didn't want to do that, and they wanted to send a message to the rest of the world not to fuck with the United States. So they just dropped the atom bomb.
Mm. Was Japan dealing with like rationing and like war? So
Yeah,
you're saying that they've
they
been
were
dealing with
fucked.
that since like the mid 30s.
Yeah, like no.
So-
So no, they started dealing with rationing when the U.S. joined. That's when they started losing
Got it. And
because
when did you say that happened again?
demolished their navy. We joined in 1941 after they bombed Pearl Harbor.
So basically, the whole time that Setsuko's been alive, she's been
Japan's
in
been-
wartime.
Yeah, but Japan's been winning though.
Yeah.
Like they fucked up China. They fucked up Korea.
Mm.
Like they had the same idea of superior race that the Nazis had. And
Yeah.
they weren't losing in anything because they took over the Philippines too to make them believe that that wasn't the case. Then the U.S. came and the U.S. Navy took out the Japanese Navy. I think they said by like the end of the war, they only had like 2 or 3 like major destroyer ships left in their entire Navy. At like the 26 ships, he sunk all of them.
Yeah.
That's what we find out later about his dad.
Yeah.
So like once your Navy's gone and you're an island nation, like you're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
got no boats. You can't go get no supplies or nothing.
All right. Take us back.
All right. So then so the aunt acting like a real fucking bitch by this point. I'm pardon my French.
Fuck the aunt.
So Setsuko and Seda, he's like, all right, we're gonna leave. They go back to the shelter. And I think Setsuko makes a comment about like how nice it is there. And Seda's like, wait, we'll just live here. And Setsuko's like super happy because she hates the aunt. I mean, she's 4, but
Yeah.
she doesn't process that living outside is like not the best thing. Is like for him, it's different. He's 14. When you're 14, your body's big enough to handle a lot more than a 4-year-old can.
Yeah.
Small children are incredibly delicate. So, but they're naive, they're kids. So they're like, yeah, we're gonna stay here. They already have their pot. They brought some mats. They packed up all their shit. They borrowed this wagon from this farmer guy who was pretty nice to the kids. I felt like, the whole time, and they moved to the shelter. And in the beginning, it's going pretty good. They seem to be happy, loving life. I mean, it's like when you move into a new place, it's all positive vibes. And this is, I think, the most iconic scene, which I think the cartoon that they animated, which I think was super quite beautiful and really moving. When they capture all the fireflies in the mosquito net,
Mm-hmm.
and then they put them in that bucket, and they open the bucket, and then all the fireflies come and like illuminate their new home, and like they kind of have this like moment of like wonder,
Yeah.
and then all the fireflies start dying, and Setsuko asks Seda like, well, why do they have to die so fast? And I forget. Did you guys write down what he answers her? Did you remember off the top?
No.
Mm-mm.
I think, is it something like something so they like burn bright and fast or something like that? But it's like it's really profound, and I don't. That scene is like it sticks in my head, like the way they animated the light shining on their faces, how big Setsuko's eyes are, and even Seita gives himself like a moment to just like live in the moment and like
Yeah.
appreciate that, like where they are, I guess. And it was really beautiful, but it's also really sad because you know that it doesn't end up well for them. So you see these like little glimpses of happiness, only to know that it ultimately isn't gonna be that way.
Yeah. This movie's a fucking roller coaster. It has these moments that fill us with joy and whimsy and like these scenes that are like, damn, there's just a couple kids being a couple kids, you know? And then we're snapped right out of it right away in the very next scene. Like the fireflies start dying and and they need to bury them. And it's like all these dead fireflies in their little shelter. It's like just highs and lows throughout for sure.
I think when they move in, that's like the happiest part of the movie. Like it's so like lighthearted. The music is even like nice and like they're having a good time.
That's a great point.
Like it was like that was the best part when they're actually able to like just be kids.
And it's crazy too because the best part is them being homeless.
Yeah, them being like outside living in a fucking cave. But you know, I think they were trying to do their best to just live and like be, you know, free and not have to worry about, you know, their aunt. Fuck the aunt. But yeah, like you said, the next scene is just it throws us right back in, and then you know time passes and it just yeah, we get so much further into this.
Yeah, this is the like what Studio Ghibli is to a lot of people.
Yeah, the happiness, the fireflies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought that it was potentially going to be like that, maybe for like a little bit longer. Because I mean, I had already known by that point like this wasn't going to end well. But I did think that like seeing them, you know, live like this, I was like, okay, like maybe it's going to be like this a little bit longer. But they get one fucking night and that's it.
Yeah. Is it this same like the day leading up to this night? Was this when they ate? They had that like little feast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they get like mushrooms and like
radishes. So
radish.
This whole like even leading up to the nighttime, like I wrote, you know, when they're walking, I don't know. I feel like Studio Ghibli always does like a walking scene, like everyone walking like in a line, all joyous. You know, they all have like a certain stride to them. And then of course the food in Studio Ghibli films, like I don't know what was in that rice dish, but I would eat it even though it was made outside, you know, with like a rock fire.
Yeah,
like,
I'm going camping this weekend.
That shit looked bomb. It
Yeah.
looked like some type of rice saucy, I don't know,
Veggie
dish.
dish. It looked
Yeah,
good.
it looks so good. And Studio Ghibli, this was like the most Studio Ghibli scene, like in this whole movie.
That's all you get, though.
That's all you fucking get.
I don't remember if Dale said it or not, but was this the first Studio Ghibli film? We'll
Was
ask him
this
right now.
the director's first?
No, it was the
Oh.
director's first on Studio Ghibli, but not first movie ever.
All right. What'd you ask? Sorry, about if this was the first Studio Ghibli film
Yeah,
ever?
ever.
No, it's not. Nesca and the Valley of the Winds. I think it came out in like 1978.
Okay.
But yeah, to comment on what you guys said, I completely agree. Like, especially with the music and the imagery, and then like just the overall like feeling of the scene and how it's just so uplifting and kind of beautiful, and then it's just like immediately like you could hear the movie does such a great job. I wish I would have put more notes of the tonal shifts within the music, because it does such a good job of going from this whimsical time period to this beautiful kind of sad scene with the fireflies to the high notes of the music come to lows when Seda wakes up and he sees Setsuko bearing the fireflies, and he asks like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm making a grave for the fireflies." And is this the moment where she relays to him that she's putting them in the ground like where their mom is, and this is the first time Seda shows emotion, like he cries.
Yep.
Because I think he feels like maybe he failed and protecting her from that, and the aunt told her that the mom died, which was not her right to do, but she did. But I guess I don't know. I was kind of struggling with this one because the aunt said a lot of off the cuff like shit. So I don't know if she was just mad at the little girl and just told her, "Well, your mom's dead. She ain't coming back. This ain't getting any better than this." But Seda just balls. Like he's so sad because he knows his sister is now hurting the same way he's hurting. I feel like, and he tried really hard to protect her from that. And that scene and that moment, it kind of shifts the movie into like a downward spiral of like sadness and like homelessness and hard times from this point on. What did you guys think of that first, of him crying and like the whole Grave of the Firefly scenes? I feel like is a pretty powerful scene in this movie.
Would have been happy if it would have stopped there. Like that's it. Please.
I mean, Ghibli movies do just like kind of stop. Like, oh,
I know.
we ended now.
It
Just like, oh, okay. Well, I guess you don't get like a super resolution.
Yeah, man. I mean, we know how it ended though. Like, we know that they both die. I didn't. It just because after that you get to see like how they still have to like suffer and like everything that else that comes after. But yeah, that was such a hard scene because, like you said, Setsuko is now aware, and I feel like the movie just downward spirals after that, and like Sato still tries to do what he can, but like now it's like he knows that he and his sister are on like the same like level of like knowledge, and she's 4 and he's, I forgot, 14.
14.
Yeah, 14. But they're both dealing with the same thing, and like now there isn't like magic and wonder, like there's no more happiness anymore. Now it's just fucking fuck the aunt.
Yeah, this was that turning point. Because after this scene, like it's just nothing but bad vibes.
Real bad vibes.
Yeah, it's the first time that we see like real heavy emotion from Seda. Like you would expect, I don't know, a 14-year-old kid like to have that kind of emotion after seeing his mom covered in maggots. Um, but the fact that he held it in for so long, and it was just like a tipping point for him and his character. And for the whole movie, I feel like in general, this was kind of the beginning of the end.
Yeah, definitely. Because right after this, it kind of jumps in the future a little bit. And we see Seta's talking to the farmer trying to get some food, right?
hmm
And the farmer's like, I'm sorry, man. I know I'm a farmer and I have all this rice, but I can't just give it away. Like it basically belongs to the government. This is my I get my rations just like you do. And I don't have any food to spare. And he's the only person who gives, I feel like, sound advice. And unfortunately, as it is, and how much it would suck to be um, back at the aunts, he's like, dude, you got to suck up your pride, and you and your little sister got to go back to the aunts. Like you can't be on your own.
Yeah.
Like you gotta go back. And Seta's like, okay, thanks, but I'm not gonna do that. Like he doesn't say that. He thanks the farmer, and he leaves.
I think he said something like, "We'll go ask someone else if they can
Oh
help."
yeah, yeah. He's like, all right, fine. Well, I'm gonna try somebody else. That's right. And then it cuts to the scene of them. Is this where it shoots? It cuts to them like walking down the street, and that U.S. fighter plane comes and just starts like shooting at the like citizens.
Well, I think the little kids
Oh, that's right. The little kids find them at the
shelter, and they're
That's
like,
right.
they're like, "Oh, who eats this?" You know,
Yeah, they're eating frogs.
I can't believe people would eat this stuff, and just little fuckhead kids from the village.
And I think because they're like, oh, a ghost, and they run away. I don't think they saw Seda. I think they saw Setsuko, huh?
Yeah.
So she looks so bad that she looks like a ghost.
Yeah,
I think she shows her rash. I think Seda looks at her rash and like her rash is really bad. He's also like
So
brushing
bad.
her hair and there's like lice in her hair. Like
Mhm.
it's all bad.
Yeah, that comes next because after the kids, this is where they start the first time they start stealing food because they get shot at by those fighter planes and they dive into like bushes and it looks like it's like persimmons or something.
Yeah,
And so he grabs the fruit and they just start eating it. And even Setsuko's like, is it okay for us to do this? He's like, yeah, it's completely fine. So there's just still a bunch of fruit. And like the way he's eating, you could tell it's the first time they've had food in a while because he's just
Yeah.
devouring it. He's like ravenous. And then it jumps to him looking at her back, and her back is like her entire back is just filled with this rash.
yeah,
And she lice in her hair, like you said. It's really. She tells him while he's brushing her, she's like, "Oh, Seda, I've been having diarrhea. I feel weird.
hmm
I've been having diarrhea." And you're like, "Oh shit, well that's not good. That's really not good. I think that's usually a sign of like malnutrition, right?
hmm
Or like diphtheria or something." Um, so like, and now they look super ragged. They're very desperate, and Seda starts stealing food.
yeah,
That's just like what he. That's all he has left, and he gets caught by this farmer, gets taken back to like where they're living. The farmer sees that he's been stealing even more food than he thought, where he's the person that's been stealing from all the time. He sees his little sister. He does not care. He beats the living shit out of Seda and takes him to the police. And the police officer actually kind of has his back
hmm
because he's like, okay, well, I see it. He's like, yeah. He's like, from the evidence, it seems like, yeah, he was stealing from you. And he's like, well, what are you going to do about it? He's like, oh, you can go home now. And he's like, I think this kid's been hit enough. It's so bad. I think I might have to charge you with assault. And the farmer's like, oh shit, my bad. Cause he really kicked his ass.
yeah,
And like the cop is like one of the few people I feel like that shows him kindness. And I guess we didn't mention this, but when they're walking down the street and it's rainy, they run into the uncle, don't they? Like he pauses and he looks at him, and then because Seda looks at him, recognizes him, grabs Setsuko, and they just book it down the street.
Damn, is that who that was? I thought it was just
Hmm.
some like random man.
Because he has a look
Makes
of
sense.
like concern and like realization, and they run, and he like lingers on them running away.
Yeah.
He just kind of like shrugs his shoulders and moves on. But like these kids are staying with you, and you remember what they look like when they arrived, and you see what they are now. Like, how does not like some form of humanity make you want to do something about it? I mean, it's your own flesh and blood, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Some people suck.
Some
I
people
think
do
it
suck.
also goes back to the whole culture of like utilitarianism of just gotta keep on trucking for the good of the country.
And
Yeah.
then I think, yeah, I guess that's true. I mean,
I
I
thought it,
guess. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I thought it was pretty uh like crafty for Seda to use the air raids to his advantage,
I was just about to say that.
like using the panic of the town to essentially feed him and his sister.
Mhm.
But what a how does that speak to the level of like desperation, right?
For
Like
real.
there's active bombs being dropped. So instead of going for shelter, he's running into the danger because he knows he can steal shit without getting caught because nobody's there.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yes.
wow. I was like, that's smart, but holy fuck, is that desperate and dangerous and really fucking sad.
Such a large shift from the first 10 minutes of the movie where he's running away from the fire bombs and like taking Setsuko like to safety, and now in order to protect Setsuko, he has to run into the bombing to steal to survive.
Yeah.
And even then, like, there's that scene where he steals those kimonos and he tries to trade it for some food. And
Oh
then,
yeah.
and she's like, this is your aunt's? Yeah, right. Don't try and fucking ponder off your garbage to me. And
For
it's
real,
like,
and he stole it from someone else. That means that woman's shit was just trash. The woman had bad style.
that or the lady knew, like, looking at the kid, he's like, these aren't legit.
Yeah.
This shit's stolen for sure. Look at this kid.
Yeah.
Looks like he's part of the riffraff. But sucks, man. He got desperate, and it's a little too late. But he finally, after this, he finally takes his sister to the doctor, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then it's so fucking sad when they lift up her shirt and you just see she's just like skin and bone.
Yeah.
And the
Skin
doctor's
and
like,
bone with like a horrible rash, and she's just, yeah, it's bad.
and the doctor's just like, oh, it's just malnutrition. And he's like, what? Malnutrition? I could give her any medicine? And he's just like, medicine, son? He's like, she just needs some food.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, man. Like, because we didn't mention it, but I when they're on their own and he goes to get like the rations for two and how little rice they give him.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like, how are you going to sustain yourself on that? I've never had rice gruel, but I'm assuming it's just water with like rice that's been broken down and thickened by the starchiness of the rice. I'm guessing
That's
it's
like
like
a horchata.
really shitty porridge. Yeah, horchata with no flavor probably because
Yeah.
they don't have salt or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really fucked up. And a little tidbit of information: the patient that comes in right after is the director.
Oh,
He animated himself. He has a cameo in the movie.
yeah.
Bring a little levity to the scene, I guess.
I wouldn't want to be in anywhere close to this movie, dude. This movie's so sad.
And then like even it's like because he finally loses it, right? He's been calm, cool, and collected. And when the doctor is like, just get her food, and he's like, get her food, like he just yells at him. He's like, where am I supposed to get food from?
Yeah.
Like you can see and finally feel like his desperation because he knows it's like it's that bad.
Yeah.
And even I feel like this next scene really broke my heart because he's telling her like, okay, we still have 3,000 yen in the bank. So he puts on his jacket. He tries to clean himself up a little bit. And he's like, I'm going to go pull out the money and I can buy us food. I mean, this is like, I got kind of mad, but I had to like remind myself like he's a kid. But like, why the fuck didn't you do that like right off the jump? But like, what does a kid know about like money and budgeting and like
Yeah.
sustaining herself and stretching that $7,000.
Yeah.
But Setsuko begs Seita not to go, not to leave him. She doesn't want to be left alone. And I started to wonder, do you think Setsuko realized that she's gonna die?
Maybe.
I mean, she definitely realized that something was wrong. I mean, that she was not feeling okay. It's kind of hard to think like this little 4-year-old knowing that they're gonna die. Like,
Maybe she was so tired, and we'll touch on it a little later, but like, because he's hustling, right? So she's left alone a lot.
Mhm.
Like, in her brother's desperation to provide for them, she kind of stopped having a brother because he's
yeah,
never around. It's a 4-year-old kid all by herself in some bomb shelter by a pond.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucked because oh well, it happens right after this, right? So he pulls out the money, and he
Finds out,
finds out that Japan surrendered, and he
and the whole
asks,
fleet is gone.
and all the whole fleet's gone. So it mentions, I have it in my notes, that the dad was, so it says the father was on the Tamaya destroyer. So that was an actual ship. And then on October 23rd, 1944, that ship was torpedoed and sank, and 493 sailors died on it, including the captain.
Damn.
And his dad was the captain. So, and it even mentions that he wrote his father in the memo at the beginning, and it's been
Yeah.
10 days. I haven't heard back. I'm like, oh, that's not good.
hmm
Like that, if you don't hear back, like military correspondence isn't like, oh, he's out on mission or something. Like nobody says anything. Like that's not good. But he gets back, and this scene was sweet, but like heartbreaking at the same time, because we do get this uplifting music again, where Setsuko is fed the watermelon by her brother, because he comes back with a lot of food,
yeah,
and he's like, I wonder why he was trying to hold on to the money. Maybe because he thought his dad was going to come back, and they didn't want to come back to nothing. But he's like holding on to this money, and he's fine. He's like, all right, we're going to use it. He gets all this food for his sister, for both of them, feeds her the watermelon, and she's like, oh, it's good. And the last thing she says to him is, thank you, Seita. That's the very last word she says, and she falls asleep. But when she falls asleep, we see like her spirit come to life, and we get a glimpse at what her life was like when her brother wasn't around. And it's so heartbreaking because she does things like sweep up their house and try to keep a fire going. She does these like stuff to try and be an adult to keep their living situation going. There's even a point where she's fanning the kiln for the pot for the food, and then just like gets distracted by a butterfly and just like chases after it, playing rock paper scissors with herself in the pond, dresses up like as a soldier wearing the little like tin hat and like saluting. They're like this cute kid shit, while also trying to like adjust to being a lot more grown up than she ever needed to be. And it's kind of heartbreaking because you kind of realize that was her life. Like her brother wasn't around because he was trying to support both of them. So that's what she was doing to entertain herself. And we find out that she's making like rice balls out of mud and eating them, which definitely probably got her sick, because you're not supposed, because she's a 4-year-old. Four-year-olds put shit in their mouth.
hmm
You're not supposed to leave them by themselves, and it's kind of fucked up. That you kind of see, I don't just like the loneliness that this little kid had to endure, the way she tried to keep herself entertained, and how she ultimately got sick. And then right
yeah,
after this scene, Seita says Tetsuko fell asleep that night and she never woke up. That was really sad. That got me. I don't know about you guys.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
That was this whole end sequence. Well, yeah, it was tough to watch. It's tough to digest. A lot of small moments like her eating the marbles. um, you know, just offering rice balls of mud to her brother. It's tough. You're watching a little 4-year-old die before your eyes.
Yeah, it was really tough. What do you think of this sequence, Matt?
All of this was really hard to watch. Like I said before, I feel like I would have been happy if it would have ended when she's making the grave of the Fireflies, and then it's just like cuts cuts to credits. But we had to watch them go through this whole thing, and we had to watch them like suffer through all of this. And her ending is so tragic. Um, there could have been like such there could have been other things that could have happened, and you know maybe she would have lived if they would have gone back with the on, and her brother would have got a job and like all this stuff, or maybe this could have gone like so many other ways, but it was just it was really rough. And I think for the first time I was able to witness kind of like destruction on another level, right? I think as Americans we don't really consume too much media. We don't watch like too much media where we view kind of the effects of what we've done in other places and like the ground level effects of things. Thinking maybe like Oppenheimer and stuff like that, right? Like we didn't see the type of like real. I mean, everything is real in terms of the destruction, but we don't see like the ground level of like these children having to suffer because of this war that is going on. And so it was really heavy to like watch and like think about like damn, like this is some real shit that happened. I mean, this shit is still going on, right? In other places where wars are happening now, without getting, too into it. But I mean, this is still going on in like specific places, and so it was hard to watch and then hard to think of like damn, like this is like an ongoing issue of like children suffering because people aren't helping, because people are dealing with their own like wartime issues. It was heavy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing that got to me was how when he's just holding her body and you just hear there's no music. You just hear the wind roaring in the background.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's it. It's just him in the moment. It felt like really real, I guess. Even though it's like
Yeah.
it's animated in such a way, and the sound design's used in such a way that it really places you in that moment, and you feel like the heartbreak and the loneliness that he's like going through, like right then and there.
Yeah.
And it got me for sure. It was really sad. Even like the next scene is so surreal when he goes to I guess the I don't know what you call it. The guy who sells him the charcoal and the box to put her body in so you can cremate her.
Hmm.
I guess the crematorium guy. I don't know what you call that person. And it's just like there's that I'm not sure if it's that Home Sweet Home song, but it's like an Italian like opera singer voice happening the entire time during this scene. And it's him and the guy's like, oh well, oh here you want to use what does he say, like radish leaves or something? It burns really hot, and luckily it's such a nice day today. Like you couldn't like given the circumstances, you couldn't ask
Yeah.
for like a better day. And it's just like what the heck? And then you see like these like wealthy families coming home now that the war's over, back to their big ass houses. And they're like, oh, I miss the sound and I miss how beautiful it looks here. Wow,
Hmm.
he was suffering and hurting this entire time. There was these he didn't have the luxury to just move away.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting, I don't know, like commentary on the class difference or just the different realities of war for different groups of people during this time period.
Definitely. I mean that scene with those girls excited to come home, and then it kind of like pans over like the lake, which otherwise would have been a picturesque lake, but it pans over and it shows the shelter. It's like, you know, you have these people that are well off, and you know they're happy to be home and they're joyous, and they don't even know what transpired like right across the pond. Like this whole, you know, story of these two children suffering, and yet a stone's throw away, we have the complete opposite of people um, being happy to be home. Uh, just like one of those, you never really know what's, you know, what the person beside you is going through, um, type of scenes. And it was it was tough. And to kind of speak on what you mentioned about that guy talking about how beautiful of a day it was, um, it that happens again kind of in the beginning of the movie, when they're right after their town of Kobe got bombed. There's some guy who's like, well, you know, it's a little bit better knowing that my house wasn't the only one that got burned down. You know, we're all in this together. Like there's always, I don't know, someone that has like a positive outlook on things. And it's kind of crazy that it happened in the beginning and then at the very end.
I didn't catch that one guy. I think I was so focused on like the town of Kobe just getting, you know, firebombed. Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah, it was like
there's
when
like
they were walking up.
specific things I want to go back and like watch, but then I don't because like this movie was it was rough. It was rough to watch.
Yeah, it was my second viewing, and I haven't since the we mentioned that the subtitles don't match up with the dub. I am curious to rewatch it in Japanese to see if there's any like meaning or subtext that wasn't translated correctly, or the director's intent that maybe the subtitles have written in. But I'll probably have to give myself some time before I give this movie another watch for sure. But I guess just to wrap it up, so he cremates his sister. He puts her ashes in the fruit drop can, and it ends with their spirits sitting on a bench overlooking overlooking a 1989 modern city of Kobe. She's sleeping on his lap, and they just seem content and at peace, just reflecting on where they were and where Japan is now. And then that's just kind of how the movie ends. I thought that was interesting. I don't know exactly what that was trying to say, but I guess from the destruction and then the modern city. But it ended. I want to say that on a positive note, but at least we know that they're not suffering anymore and their spirits are at rest.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you guys get any meaning from the like final scene of them overlooking the city?
I took it as even though they had this horrible thing happen to them, like life continued on. And I think that was, I kept on getting that like throughout the movie, like even though these kids are like stuck in this like horrible situation, like the world is still moving around them. And like the aunt was trying to get them to like, you know, get them to work, get Sato to work and like try to get Sato to work and like try to get him to, you know, contribute and all this stuff, saying like the world is kind of needs to continue, but like I think they also didn't get time to like be kids and like process what they needed to do. And so it's shitty because they're stuck as kids, even though the world has like moved on and like continued. Um, I mean, yeah, you're right. It was like I guess in some way, like a little bit lighter ending, saying that like at least they're like resting and they're together. But I was still fucked up at the end of this. Like it was still a sad ending.
Yeah. It's almost like through the suffering of people came this, I don't know, like
New Japan.
life and death cycle kind of thing, kind of like Akira.
Yeah, because the city died and it was rebuilt, right?
Yeah,
That was interesting. We didn't touch on it, but like this difference in storytelling and the animation was also very good in this. Um, I don't know if it was like Akira level good, but it was still very good. And like for two movies that came out around the same time, it's like the vast differences, and because they both portray a version of Tokyo, which is pretty interesting. I've read versions
true.
of Japan.
But I do think that they similarly like still display the destruction. You know, I think that that's like a main point between these two that I can compare is that I mean Akira takes it like a whole another step further and like you know future planning of what happens after the destruction, but still like destruction, and then you build on the trauma from that and like what happens after, like what do you go through, you know, during that. So yeah, kind of yeah.
It's interesting that you say that because we kind of talked about the ending, so I'm gonna point out some of the interesting facts. But the author got multiple proposals to do a live action version of this movie, but he kept saying no because he's like, no film, especially during this time period, probably is going to be able to depict the destruction of Kobe, like that's been written in the book, and he doesn't think a child actor of 4 will be able to convey the type of emotion and be able to have the acting chops really to do what you need the characters to do.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until we saw the drawing board sketch of the destruction of Kobe by with Takahata.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Takahata, where he was convinced, like, okay, he's like, I never pictured that this could be an animated film, but when he saw the storyboards for it, he was like, okay, this could work because it's able to relay the imagery that I'm trying to get across. And then with voice actors, you're able to convey the emotion and animate the emotion that you can't necessarily do with the child actors. I thought that was interesting.
I hope this never gets made into live action. I don't want to watch a child die like this.
They've already made multiple.
Oh my god.
Damn.
Yeah, TV
Oh my
series, Japan only. I guess one of them, the most recent one, takes place from the perspective of the cousin.
damn.
Oh.
Interesting.
Like that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh man.
And I guess it focuses on how the cousin seeing how such a kind-hearted woman like her mother became so stone cold and kind of heartless due to the circumstances. So I know we touched on it a lot, which I thought was pretty interesting because I read this before we started about our receptions and our viewpoint of the aunt in this movie. I guess in Japan, the Japanese people during the time period found it pretty reasonable and understanding why Seda and Setsuko didn't go back to the aunt and why the aunt acted the way that they did. And it's actually Western audiences that find that was in poor judgment and don't understand how you could treat someone like that. But I guess in Japan, because they're culturally different in their culture, that seemed as like him not wanting to go back was like, yeah, that makes sense. But to us, you're like, what? Why would you? Like, you just needs help, man. Like, you can't do it. Like, go back to the adults. I thought that was kind of interesting because I could see from all our reactions, we all kind of had the same, kind of had the same opinion, which I think is
Yeah.
kind of interesting. We were talking about cultural differences,
Hmm.
so it's kind of a big one, I guess. Do you guys have anything you want to say about the movie or the ending, anything in general before I start getting deep into some of these facts?
Fuck the aunt.
Yeah. Fuck the aunt. That's it.
More of the story.
Yeah. No, whoever they got for the voice actor or the actress, like did a good job in like sounding like a bitch.
Oh, the aunt, yeah.
Yeah. Like I've never wanted to punch a woman or like an animated woman, but damn, I'd give her a nice wallop.
Yeah,
God.
she was pretty pretty bad, pretty emotionless,
Yeah.
emotionless, right? It's kind of
Cold-hearted.
cold-hearted for sure,
I gotta
definitely.
hearing what you told me though. I gotta. I know it's a culture thing, but god damn it, dude.
Hey man, like it's I mean it's they say put yourself in someone else's shoes, but
Yeah,
cultural understanding and how we internalize information, react to things, that takes years of building, of being part of society, and like what you're taught by your teachers, the people around you.
yeah,
They were taught and raised completely differently than we were. So I mean, it's
yeah.
going to be hard for us to see it from their perspective, because it's not the same as the perspective that we were brought up
I
to
know.
believe in. Are their
Yeah.
societal norms and our societal norms is just not the same.
And then adding in war like on top of that. So yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But fuck the aunt.
yeah, for sure. Well, I got some I guess some interesting things about the animation style. I think we all like the animation style. I think we all did a good job.
Yeah.
But I guess what they did for this one to make the tones softer is that they outlined everything in brown instead of outlining it in black. So that's why you get that soft feel to the animation instead of what you normally get, I guess, when you animate with black.
Yeah.
Because the animators wanted it to be softer. And they followed the animation style of an 18th century artist named Hiroshige and his follower Hige. And Hige is the guy who created Tintin.
Nice.
He's that kid that's in the yellow raincoat.
Yeah.
Adventures of Tintin.
Damn. Brown
Like a
power.
Look it up.
English adventure. You'll see him. I think Spielberg did like an animated
Mhm.
version of it pretty recently. It's supposed to be pretty good. I've never seen it though. I also didn't know Tintin was like a Japanese animation. I did
I
not know
didn't
that.
either. The only reason why I know about it is because of Spielberg.
And I guess the pond where they stood, Niteko Ike Pond,
Mhm.
the birthplace for the novel, because the author used to go there to wash their dishes. And I guess him and his sister-in-law stood with an aunt, and a couple of them died from effects. And one of his, I think his sister died from malnutrition. So he wrote this book as an apology to her because he felt that he failed her.
Yeah.
That's heavy, man. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Fucking kid. But you hear it all the time, right? Kids raising kids.
Yeah.
But just I thought this was pretty poignant. I know I'm the from my boy Ebert. So
Here we go.
Roger
This
Ebert
fucking guy.
believed that there's an unusual amount of detail in the evocative landscape, while the characters are a take on a modern Japanese animation with childlike bodies and enormous eyes. This deliberate animation style embodies the true purpose of animation, which is very interesting from his take on Watership Down. On Watership Down, he argued that it was too cartoony, dealing with heavy themes. And here he's arguing that not only was the animation appropriate, but this level of animation and the way it's animated and used to reflect the characters and the details in the landscape is why animation should exist at all. He considers it one of the greatest movies of all time, if not one of the greatest movies of all time.
The critics fucking suck.
I don't understand. I don't understand Ebert. Maybe well
The pinky up
also
kind of
I
guy,
mean
dude.
this is also dealing with like World War II time stuff, and what Watership Down, what was that dealing with? That wasn't war. That was
I
just
was just
like
rabbits trying
Yeah,
to
just
rabbits
get a new
Survival.
home. Yeah, survival.
story
survive.
of survival.
Maybe he just likes war movies and feels guilty, so he felt like he needed to give this one a better rating.
I don't know, man. If you really pick it apart, you might be able to say that Watership Down might have been like a refugee story. You know,
Kind of.
someone invading, taking their land, and they're on the run trying to survive.
Yeah, that's
Easily
true.
be interpreted that way.
You're blowing my mind right now. It's too early for this.
And I guess
know.
Wendy Goldberg, who I'm guessing she's another prolific critic, she commented that she believes that Japan's national fantasy of war, which I feel like is pretty prevalent in this movie, is what led Seita to ultimately neglect his sister. Which I guess, like, I from and up until we get that flashback of like what she was doing, I never really saw him as being neglectful, more like trying to be an adult. But in doing so, he didn't give her the care and the attention that she needed, which ultimately led to her death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I think fantasy of war.
Because
So
he
what-
wanted to be a soldier, right?
He did.
He did. But did that mean that he like had to, by him saying that he was a soldier, did that mean that he didn't want to like take any help from anybody or like try to, because the argument then would have been that he would have like apologized to his aunt and then like
he was very prideful.
Yeah,
and I think like speaking on the culture, Japanese culture, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're very prideful.
Can't correct you.
To the point where, like, what is it, harikari?
Oh no, it's harikari is one thing, but it's
haraki.
So harakiri means to like disembowel yourself. Like that's the term for it, but it's I think as seppuku is the ritualistic killing of yourself. I guess they mean the same thing, but no one uses harakiri. It's like saying like literally saying cut your belly, where seppuku is describing the like ritualistic act of cutting your belly. They're the same thing, but one is more proper, I guess.
Well, that soldier did it in the beginning.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did. It was and I guess the book starts with the air raid. I don't know if I mentioned that, which is like fuck. Imagine just like you just start with that and then it ends the way it ends. Jesus Christ.
Must have been a hell of a read for a short story.
I was talking my partner, I know, right? I kind of want to read it now. I was talking to my partner. I'm like, do you feel like if it would have started with the air raid, that it would have made the movie like worse to digest? She's like, absolutely. Because when the movie ended, she looked at me, she's like, I didn't need to watch that. Why'd you make me watch this? I was like, I mean, it's a really good movie. Like, I don't know. It's like it's kind of a movie you gotta see. It's one of those movies.
Blame the wheel.
Well, she doesn't always watch the movies. Like if she'll watch the trailer and she's like, that looks dumb. I'm not gonna watch this. But this is a movie I've been wanting to show her for damn near a decade since I've seen it. Even though I know it's incredibly sad, but I'm like, it is. I mean, spoiler alert, we're gonna get to our review soon, but I think it's an incredible film. And
I think he's grading an A.
We were having this conversation, and I don't know if you guys had the same reaction. Like, that if it wasn't for that beginning, it would have been a lot harder to digest.
I think I would have cried a lot more. It would have been a lot more impactful.
It tempered my emotions a little bit, for sure.
The fact that we know how it's going to end, and like, I don't know about you two, but I kept thinking in the back of my mind, like, how are they going to die? How are they going to die? Because, I mean, obviously we know how Seda dies, but like, how is the little girl going to die? And when it happens, even though you know it's going to happen, like, it's still painful.
It is.
But yeah, it would have been exacerbated if it started with just the fucking air raid.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have been so much worse to watch it without knowing that they died. I think because you know that right off the bat, I think it sets up like a specific expectation. But I also thought that it was going to come sooner. Like it was just so much that you see them go through And I feel like she could have died at any other point in time. And it still would have been like as hurtful. But when she goes, it was like, damn. It was, yeah.
I I there's not too many movies that I can say this for, but uh at the end of this movie, when it finally concluded, I think I mentioned it in our pre-production before we started recording. Like I got up and I went for a walk. Just kind of like decompress and like talk about the movie. There's not too many movies that I've ever seen in my life that when it ended, it legitimately made me like sad. Like I've had movies that made me teary eyed and movies that have made me cry, moments of sadness, but this movie legitimately, like my whole mood like changed for like a good chunk of time. I was just sad. Like that was really fucking sad.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to I mean how good the movie is and how well it portrays its message and how um it's short. It's 128 minutes. It's the exact same length as Idiocracy. Um, but that 128 minutes is so heavy and it feels a little longer than 128 minutes. Like, I mean, if you compare our runtime from this episode to Idiocracy, this is probably going to be one of our longer episodes because there's just so much to talk about, so much to unpack, so much to kind of like work through, like emotionally and what you're feeling and what you're seeing. It's really good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just watched it before recording this, and I'm still fucked up.
Twan's still coming down from the sadness.
After we're done, I think I'm gonna go cry in my pillow.
Let's go for a walk.
I'll go
It's like
go
90
walk and
degrees now,
cry.
I think. It's 91 degrees right now.
A good cry walk.
Should we get into our reviews?
Run it.
All right. Twan, you just finished watching the movie. You have the Ross take. So why don't you start us off?
All right, I'm gonna give it to you raw. No, I mean this was a fantastic movie. It did a really good job in like balancing some of that, Studio Ghibli whimsy with it's like foreboding dread that's constantly going on. I had difficulty streaming this movie. That's probably the only bad take I have. It's like I'm gonna review it like someone that's mad about the parking situation for a restaurant on Yelp. It's like the food was good, but I had to park down the block.
What a comparison. That's so funny.
Which sucked because I saw this trailer with my partner and she really wanted to watch this movie and she's never seen a Studio Ghibli movie. And I mean, I don't know if this is a good choice to like introduce someone to Studio Ghibli, but like
probably not. No. It's for the best.
This is my second Studio Ghibli movie. First was Howl's Moving Castle. Yeah, I know they're great movies. I just haven't come around to watching them. But for this being my second one, this one was heavy, man. This one was heavy. You like you said, it's an hour 28. Again, quick watch. But yeah, for being an animated movie, it tackles some super heavy subject matter and it does a great job in storytelling. The sound design was great. The world building, the environments that you're put into. There's just so many elements to this movie that make it great. And I know you haven't shared the IMDb or the Rotten Tomato scores, but I did see them and fuck, I agree with them. This movie is an A for me. Solid A. Just entertaining throughout, but very sad. I would recommend it to people if you like animated movies or Studio Ghibli, you kind of know what you're getting into as far as like storytelling. But yeah, I would watch it again. Maybe not for a while, but yeah, it's good. It was good. It was a good, sad watch, and I'm not usually one to seek out sad movies, but this one was great. It was done really well.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
Like since you touched on, I guess I'll say it now before we get into the other two reviews. Rotten Tomato has this movie scored as 100%.
Oh,
They think this movie's flawless. IMDb has it at an 8.5. That's really high for IMDb. And we never mentioned Metacritic before. It's kind of like an aggregator that gets all its information from a bunch of different sources. Metacritic has it at a 94 out of 100. I think this is by far the highest rated movie we've covered on the pod. It probably is going to be. I mean, you can't beat 100%. I think the only thing that we can maybe beat is if we review one with a higher IMDb score, but 8.5 on IMDb is really high. A 94 on Metacritic is super high as well. It's pretty rare for anything to get above the 90s. So for this movie to do that and to have 100% on Rotten Tomatoes with 43 reviews, it's pretty incredible. I guess since I'm already talking, I'll get into my review. I give this movie an A as well. I think this movie is incredible. It's heartbreaking. The storytelling is great. I love Studio Ghibli movies. I've seen a lot of them. I'd say a little bit over half. I'm trying to work my way through the entire film registry that they have. But this movie's, from what I've seen so far, is completely different than anything else they've ever made. It has that whimsy, like Twan said, but it also has like a through line in the storytelling that doesn't really get too fantastical. It's a really human story that really draws on your emotions, and it can be incredibly relatable, and at times at just like a shared humanity, and like it invokes emotions for these characters and the way that the characters are animated that really makes you feel something, and it's really heartbreaking to see these two kids desperately trying to survive in a world that just isn't made for them to be on their own. And I feel like they mention that this what makes this movie so great, and I think I agree because I feel like I have a different take on it now in my 30s than I did in my mid 20s when I saw it originally. That what's great about this movie is that it's kind of timeless. Every generation can watch this movie and relate to this movie because, like Matt was saying, like there's always wars going on. Currently, there's two major ones going on, and there are children who are going through this very thing right now. And with every generation, you could look and you can watch this movie, and it'll relate to the world around you, and it's a good reflection of like how society can be better, I guess. And I don't know, just like it brings for it being animated, it brings a realism that I feel like you rarely see in films. So I loved it. I recommend it to people as it's just like an all-time great. You got to watch it, but it is. I would just preface this with everyone that I see. It is incredibly sad movie. It's gonna want to make you cry, and but if you love movies, it's worth giving a watch. Why don't you finish this off, Saya?
You got to bring it home. Both of you said everything that I really wanted to say. I don't know if I could add more. I mean, it's such a sad movie, but such a great movie. It does a really good job of storytelling. The visuals were amazing. The voice acting is amazing. I think that I can't even think of any other way that this movie could get better. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a sad movie for sure. I think like Dale, I would recommend this movie to people that like want to watch a really good movie, but definitely preface of like, this movie will potentially fuck you up. And, yeah, I mean, it's still relevant to today. We definitely need to do better to make sure that children aren't suffering like this. The Wheel delivered us a sad one this week, and I don't want another sad movie. So I'm putting it out there now. I would like a not sad movie from The Wheel. Please and thank you.
After having back-to-back comedies. What's your letter score? You didn't give it a letter.
A.
3 A's. This is our highest rated movie. I guess I might even go so far to say this might be an A+ film, but yeah. So back-to-back comedies, Idiocracy and Super Troopers. And it was like, all right, cool, I warmed you up. I'll fucking fuck you up with this one. But
I feel like I got fucking stabbed by the wheel.
And let's get the wheel going. We'll see if the wheel graces us. Yeah, hopefully.
Wheel.
All right. Do we have any additions this week, gentlemen?
No additions this week.
No additions this week. All right then.
Wheel.
The wheel beckons.
Wheel.
Let's see. I shared my sound last week, but it didn't come through.
I hear it.
I hear it now. Yeah. Let's see. What do we got? Evil
Hobo
Dead?
with the shotgun?
Bringley? Hobo with the shotgun? Boondock Saints.
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element.
And it's
Fifth Element.
FITH. I need a fifth.
Fifth. Orale.
I plead
All right.
the fifth.
Oh, nice.
Fifth Element next week.
I
don't know which one this is. Fifth
I'm
Element.
happy. I'm happy for this
Yeah.
one.
This is a good one. This is a nice
Yeah. This is gonna bring us back to like a nice level of joy.
This is my first time watching this movie.
You never seen Fifth Element?
Fifth Element?
All right, guys. So next week we're covering The Fifth Element, The Will Beckoned. So it's going to be a silly goose movie. Very different vibe from this week's movie. Thank you guys for joining us. Those of you who have seen Grave of the Fireflies, share your opinions on it. What did you think of it? Be sad with us. Those of you who listen who haven't seen it, check it out. It's one of the greatest movies ever made that nobody's seen or heard of. It's one of those movies. It's worth a watch. Just have your tissue box ready. But thanks for joining us. Just a quick reminder, guys. If you want to donate to the pod, click the donation link at the end of each episode. Any donations you give will go to help producing the pod. But if you can't donate, that's totally cool with us. We do this for you guys. We love making the pod. We love coming here every week and talking about movies. If you haven't done so already, please give us a follow on all our social medias. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter /X, TikTok, YouTube, and Threads. As always, I've been your host, The Dale, followed by my two co-hosts, Mr. Saya.
Thank you.
And Twan.
Bye.
See you guys next week. Bye.
Love you guys.